is up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle, if you haven't met me already. If you guys are new here, to give you a little bit of a background story or background knowledge, I am a licensed cosmetologist. What stemmed me wanting to film this video is basically because I actually renewed my license for the second time, which means I've officially been licensed for 4 years now. And it just got me to thinking about like all the stuff that I have endured to get to the place that I am at now. First and foremost, want to start off by saying I am forever grateful for the company that I work for. I work at Salon, if you guys didn't know. There's not even a proper word in the dictionary to describe my gratitude that I have for my clients because they are truly one of a kind. I don't know, I'm just very, very thankful for them. So I do want to say this is a little quick disclaimer because this video is going to be very juicy. I don't want any of my clients that are watching this get nervous and think that this is about them, because it is not. Any of these stories that I have about crazy clients are not any of my clients. They are always walk-in people. I had them once and I've never seen them since. So none of these stories are involving any of the people who come to me frequently. I'm sorry, I know I had to do that quick disclaimer, but if you guys are interested in watching my crazy client horror story, or one of them, then just keep on watching and let's get into it. In this particular instance, I basically want to start from the beginning because the situation as a whole kind of was a little bit crazy. I've worked at a couple different salons before working at Ulta, and some shit happened between all of them. I have plenty of stories. If you guys want to hear more after this one, just let me know. But I want to talk about this specific one because all of this happened actually on my first day of working at this salon. And mind you, I already had some massive trust issues from the previous places that I had worked at. So coming into this and already dealing with this was kind of like a red flag from the beginning. I already can tell that the story is going to be like all over the place, so editing Danny might have to intervene a little bit and kind of like explain things that I'm not explaining properly, but hopefully you guys can follow along as good as possible. Okay, let's keep going. Upon applying to the salon, it sounded like a really amazing place. I felt like everybody was very friendly and it would be a good place to build my book, or so I thought. And the owner of the salon is great. She's still great to this day. I still think very highly of her, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't the right fit for me. Got all my hours situated and I was supposed to start the Friday after Thanksgiving a few years ago. And I was supposed to come in at 1 because my schedule was going to be like 1 to 7 on Fridays. A few days before I started at the salon, the owner of the salon said, "You're actually going to be really busy that day. Would you want to come in at 11? And she had texted me that. Someone who is very eager to say yes, although I probably should say no, and I have learned from that now, but I decided to agree on coming in at 11 as opposed to 1. Mind you, I think I was 20 at the time. As far as organization goes, I really lacked it, and I definitely forgot to write that down somewhere. I will say that was 100% my fault. Lo and behold, the day after Thanksgiving comes and I am thinking that I'm supposed to come in at 1, and 11 rolls around and she texts me, "Where are you?" And I'm like, shit, I completely forgot that I was supposed to come in at 11, and naturally I was not off to a very good start. I get ready as fast as I possibly can and then I head on into work. It did wind up unfortunately being around at 1 anyway at that time. Whatever, what can you do? I came in and I apologized for being late on my very first day. I was obviously feeling a little overwhelmed and already kind of like off to a bad start. The manager was like, "It happens, it's fine, but your next one is here." Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, in that moment, Danielle should have ran. So I get all my stuff prepared, basically, because I had to like get my station ready and everything, and I go to greet this client. And the client, mind you, I am in no way one of those that judge a book by its cover. I never like to assume something from somebody right off the bat. I'm just not that type of person. But when someone comes to me reeking of cigarettes, and I don't want to sound mean, but her boyfriend was not the best kept looking and neither was she, and right off the bat I knew I was in for a treat when she shows me a photo that she wants, and she wants black underneath her hair, red in the middle of her hair, and platinum blonde on top. If any hairstylists are watching this, I'm sure they are screaming right now. Mind you, only being 6 months into doing hair, I wouldn't say that I really had a very good grip on color, and let alone this being my first day in the salon, I didn't even know the color line. Yeah, I wasn't really sure what I was doing. Luckily, the manager, even though she wasn't very fond of me at that very moment, she noticed right away the look in my eye and noticed that this was going to be something that is not going to work out in my favor. We have a consultation. I would say her hair is like, she had like more of like a dirty blonde and then had some highlights that someone must have done previously. After having the consultation with the manager, she kind of pulled me aside and said, this bitch is fucking crazy. And we decided to like kind of go through like all this like idea of color, but ultimately all I was going to do was highlight and low light her of all those colors versus trying to do sections and like a fucking color correction or whatever. I come back over and I explain to her what we're going to do and I break down the pricing and stuff, and she's like, oh well, I have a gift card and it only has $100. In what world would you think that something like this photo is going to be only $100 or less? This is just insane. I didn't even know what to say at this point. So I'm like, okay, well then at that point we're going to have to do a lot less. So really all I wound up doing was a highlight, and I basically implied that this is something that was going to have to be done over time because there is no way in one session that I'll be able to get you all of this under $100 or less. She actually was okay with it, I guess because she had no idea what the hell she was talking about. So as I'm highlighting her, I get to talking with her. I just find that I can occasionally get a pretty decent read off people. I don't want to sound rude or mean or crude or anything, but this girl doesn't sound like she had any money. I don't want to sound mean because that does sound mean coming off, but like there's no way in hell that she's ever going to rebook with me, and there's no way in hell that she's ever going to come back. Like I just knew right off the bat, just based off of what she was telling me, that someone must have given her a gift card at this random ass place and she just decided to see what she could milk for it. I don't know. Ultimately, I was heavily annoyed given my whole entire circumstance of coming late and dealing with this trash. She was literally trash. I am not trying to sound mean, but you guys know what I mean. Like she was missing teeth, okay? That's the truth. She was missing teeth. A few minutes go by and I'm trying to foil, but mind you, I am still new, so I'm still incredibly slow, and I had a full ass book. So I had to kind of hurry based off of like what I was allotted with the time. I don't know if anyone has ever been in the service industry, like waiting tables, but what they call when you're like in over your head is you're in the weeds. And I would definitely say this was one of those days where I was in the weeds of hair. Like I literally could not catch up and nothing was going right. As I get to talking with this client and I'm like really hurrying, I would say this is the most sloppiest highlight I've ever done in my entire life, I start to notice that her conversations would kind of trail off. And at first I didn't quite know what was happening. I thought maybe she just had a very long day. And she did use the excuse of like shopping for Black Friday because it was the day after Thanksgiving, so it was Black Friday. So at first I thought she was just really tired from staying up really late the night before. But then it started to become more apparent that she was not tired. She was nodding out on drugs. So I am really panicking here because this makes me look bad now. Like I already look bad, but now I look even worse because people are going to think I brought this client and she's nodding out in my chair. I also want to point out really quick, I am not insensitive to this type of stuff. Like I've known loved ones to go through, like I am not insensitive. I know how it feels and I'm not making fun of her, but I do want you guys to know from my perspective and my point of view, this was making me very, very angry. The whole situation was just, for lack of a better word, stupid. It was stupid. I honestly should have just never showed up and called out. Say about an hour goes by and I'm still foiling this girl's head, which is not good. If you're a hairstylist, you know that there's things that need to be done by that point that I was not doing. I think my manager came over and noticed the panic in my eye and also noticed the girl constantly coming to and going back out and nodding out. So she offered to help me. So we were both foiling and going at it, and every time the girl would wake up, she would basically say, "Sorry, I'm just really tired." And we'd be like, and then she would nod back out. And I am just like, I want to quit. I want to leave right now. Eventually we got to a stopping point to where I could kind of take out the rest of the foils that I started in the back and let the rest process. Her boyfriend had come in with her kid. Her kid was running all around. It was just it was a disaster. It was a definite disaster. I finally got her rinsed and back to my chair. I cut her hair and then I blow dried her, and lo and behold, what she was left with was highlights. Nothing crazy, just highlights. Obviously I was super nervous. Upon like showing her what she was about to work with, I knew that she wasn't going to be happy, and she wasn't. She just kind of was like, "Oh, cool." And I don't know if it was like because she had no energy, or if it was because it looked like shit, like it did not look like what she wanted at all. If she had less than $100 to spend, I don't think she could have really said very much else. She checks out, she goes, she didn't even tip, she didn't do any of that, and I was just left fully drained. Luckily, my manager came over and she told me that I did a very good job for what I was working with, and that kind of stuff never really happens at the salon. So I was like, that's really good to know that the first day I get something that is very uncommon to happen here. I wound up working at that salon for like another 6 months, and I will say, as far as getting off on the wrong foot, I definitely left on good terms, and I think very highly of that salon now, and I would recommend it to any other stylists in the area for sure. It was just, I started to feel like I was getting a lot busier, and they weren't as busy as I thought they were going to be, basically. I don't know how long this is going to be, and I definitely know that I was talking a little bit in circles, but ultimately I just wanted to share with you guys something that happened that was super crazy to me. I've definitely experienced a lot. If you want, I can make this a whole series of me just like talking about the stuff that hairstylists deal with on a regular basis. I do feel like a lot of my clients ask me like what was the most craziest experience that I've ever had with a client, and I would say that's like top 5. So I thought that it would be fun to share it with you guys today, seeing as I'm now celebrating 4 years of being licensed. What's the phrase? Oh yeah, started from the bottom, now I'm here. I'm just kidding. I thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this mini client horror story. Let me know down below if you guys have experienced any crazy customer stories at your job. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.